So John Cartwright, a week off, how's it been for you?
Enjoyable. No game to worry about and no result to worry about. So it's a good opportunity. I think it's come at a good time for most clubs. I think been a sort of long season, a few bumps and bruises, so just a good chance to get rid of those.
You're talking about the players, but it sounds like you benefited from that break. I guess coaches as much as players need time off.
Yeah, I think time away from each other is a good thing. It's a tense environment that you work in. There's a lot of pressure. So yeah, you need some space on occasion. So it was just a good chance. We had a few, with the Challenge Cups, but we trained through those, so it was just a good chance to give the players a week off.
So it was just time off completely, or did you try to find that balance of getting them in but giving them a break as well?
No, the guys that didn't go away somewhere, they came in and there was rehab going on, and they were given some things to do while they were away, just to keep their legs turning over and their lungs turning over. So there's a few guys took advantage to get away, and there was a core group that stayed here as well.
Are you a fan then of the idea of a split round and giving clubs a week off mid-season?
Yeah, I am. I think it's we're playing a really physical, tough game, and generally, we get a maximum of 7 days off in between games. So you get 5-6 day turnarounds. It's a brutal sport. You don't. I think because we watch it every week, we just sometimes forget how brutal the game is, and there's guys that can't train weeks on end, and it's every club's the same. As I say, the game's getting faster and harder and tougher, and when that happens, we're getting more injuries.
Considering the performance and result last time out against Huddersfield, was it a good thing you got that break, or would you rather have kept the players maybe for another week and had this week off if you'd had a choice? Oh,
it's hard to say. I think the timing of it was perfect for us. We come back with 7 games to go. It's a long way to go. It's you don't want to get sucked into the trap of 7 games is 14 points. It can change a lot of teams' seasons as 14 points. So there's a long way to go. So we're not sort of talking about winding down at the moment. That was a chance to recharge and hit this last 7 games running.
So off the back of your last performance with the break, what is it that you've been working on since then?
Just mentally freshen up. I think it's we've got a lot of home games coming up. We've struggled at home. There's no sort of getting around that. It was a game we were expected to win, and we didn't. So we didn't say much after the game. We didn't debrief the game too much. It was just get away, refresh the bodies and the minds, and come back and make this home ground a fortress. Because if we can do that, I think we've got 5 of the 7 at home. So that's got to be our mentality going in.
I know you're looking for consistency. You said after the last game, that's the sort of key, really, to find it. Will that chance to recharge, refresh, help potentially with that?
I hope so. As I said, we'll know better after the weekend. But it wasn't, we didn't play well against Huddersfield. Nowhere near as consistent as we were the week before. But Huddersfield in the first half were nearly faultless. I think they were 19 out of 19 sets at one stage, and they just pressured us. I think if we could have gone into the game, into half time at 12-6, I think we might have been able to reassess. But that was a try that was sort of against the run of play. It was like an intercept try, and I think that mentally that drained us. They tried hard to come back in the second half, but again, Huddersfield played really, really well. Still not taking away from the fact that I thought it was a game we should have won, but sometimes you've got to give credit where credit's due.
We've been saying as well how tight the table is as far as the top 6 goes. What are your thoughts about that as it stands?
Yeah, not sort of worrying about who beats who. I still think where we sit, our destiny is in our own hands. I think if we win the majority of our games, that will look after itself. I know we sit outside the 6 at the moment, but as I say, 14 points can do a lot for any team in the competition at the moment. So that's the way we're looking at it. We win the majority of those games, we'll be still playing come finals time.
So again, off the back of the break, has that helped injury-wise at all?
Well, probably not the mate. We've only got a few out for the season. So it's given us another week for the guys with hamstring problems to mend. Still won't make a call them till we get through the captain's run. But they've been training and they've got through so far. So we'll make calls on Johnny and Pricey after captain's run.
How hopeful are you though, or is it too soon to say?
Yeah, no, really hopeful. They've ticked their boxes. Their timing is where it was originally sort of said it would be. So that we haven't taken any shortcuts with them. And if they are able to play, it'll be because we're confident that they'll get through.
How much of that call to play them or not is down to you, the staff, the physio staff, or the player?
Yeah, mainly the medical staff. I'm not a doctor or a physio, so I'm sort of. Yeah, but you're getting to the point of the year now where sometimes you've got to take some risks. We're at the pointy end. And we've got a reasonably tough run coming in. So, anytime we can go out there and get some confidence and get a win out and field our best side, we've got to take it. But we certainly won't take any undue risks.
I guess the timing and of that is absolutely crucial, isn't it, this time of year? Two players like that and coming in for these final few games. Yeah,
they've been, massive hole in our side without them. We've bounced around. We've won a few games. We've lost a few. But at the end of the day, those two boys are responsible for a lot of our attack. They really help the halfback out. So they've been big losses and exciting to get them back.
Couple of HIAs as well from that Huddersfield game. Time, a healer, simple as that?
Yeah, that's all we can do. Jordan, I think it's his third one within 12 months, so that's a bit of a different one. I think he sees a specialist next week and we'll get some advice regarding him. Have to help me out. Who was the other one?
Your son?
Oh, Jed. No, he's all right. He passed his assessment. So he's fine. He's ready to roll.
So off the back of that, Jordan Rapiner not available this weekend or not been selected this weekend?
No, he won't be available this weekend. I think it's minimum 2 weeks now. We see the specialist and we'll take that advice.
If he's missing, if the other two aren't back, if you've not got Will Price, John Asiata, how does that affect things?
Yeah, it's a lot of holes to fill, isn't it? And they're sort of key roles. They play key roles in the team. So. Look, we've trained accordingly. We could have players in different roles this week, but yeah, as I said, we've had 2 weeks to prepare for this mentally and physically a good week this week. So yeah, we've got no excuses.
News of some signings this week or contract extensions of some of your younger players, Joe Ward, Matty Laidler, and Will Kirby. How important is it for the club to tie down players like that?
Yeah, you've got to keep building from within. That's the long-term plan of the club is to, source local boys, give them opportunities, and then reward them when their form warrants. So they're only young boys. They're still at the start of their career. I really look forward to them being able to play more consistently next year. Hopefully with a larger reserve grade competition kicking off, which will, I think every club hopefully participates in, that's where, at the end of the day, that's where we've got to get our numbers from, all clubs. You've got to, if you can keep bringing them from within your system, come through your junior programs, it puts less pressure on you to go and sign players from overseas and other clubs.
So how important is it as well, with that contingent of players, to have local players as well?
I think every club would love to have a whole squad of local players come through. I think it's great for the town. It's great for the local communities. It's great for the local clubs. That's what you aim to do. It's in reality that's probably not going to happen all that often. But I think we've had stages this year. We've had sort of 7 and 8 boys that have come through our academy and gone on to play first grade and been out in the field in big victories. I think Wigan, we had maybe 7 or 8 local boys on the field. So we do spend a lot of money and time on our 16s and 18s and trying to get them ready for Super League careers.
And what is it about these 3 that you like?
We've only had the 12 months to see their development. They're tough. Joe's got. They're all different in all good in different areas. They're all tough boys. I think that's a critical component. They compete hard. I think if you've got those 2 elements of your game, they're the most important 2 things to if you want to advance further.
And with the competition for places, how do you look to develop them to get them up to Super League standard?
Yeah, it's train them hard and get them games of football. That's the key, and that's been my challenge. Every coach's challenge is to get them. You'd like to think as a coach you have a major input into them, and you do in certain areas, but where they improve is actually playing against men in a tough competition. And that's hopefully as a game, that's where we're heading to.
So your opponents for this week, Salford. How are you preparing for this one?
Yeah, well, it's a game about us. We sort of talk about that most weeks, but this week in particular, big chance for us. Playing in front of a home crowd. They deserve a win. They deserve to see a side go out and represent them and get a win. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Salford at all. They've competed hard, they've tried hard every week they've played. So, we haven't been too good at home. So we can't take anyone easy. So it's about preparing well and going out and trying to play how we train and play when at the level at the games we've been at our best.
But you won't necessarily know what's coming at you. They've lost more players again this week. So does that affect your preparations, even though it is about you?
Yeah, it shouldn't do. We've spoken about that as a group, but words are cheap. We've got our challenge is to go out there and just play physical, play a game that's going to get us 2 points and get us ready for the 6 games after it.
You mentioned your home form. You have got that win this season in front of your home crowd, but how much is that still sort of on your mind, on players' minds?
Yeah, I don't think about it. I worry about what other people think about it. If you're not inside their head. I think the thing you have to be is honest about it. You can't sort of sugarcoat it. It is what it is. We've struggled at home with our form. So it's there, but it's there's only one way to get it out of there, and that's go out and put a performance on this weekend.
And finally, I'm not sure if we've been asked about this as far as BBC Humberside are concerned, but obviously last week the news about the expansion of Super League. As a coach, where do you sit on that? Yeah,
like I say, I've only been in the game here for this 12 months. So the worry I have is the players, having enough players to come in to the 3 sides without dispersing the talent, and then in effect that sort of takes away from your product. And just pathways underneath. I think we just the game needs to keep working really hard on pathways underneath to make sure that we do have enough players. For those, if they're going to go with 14 teams, we've got to keep working hard on producing players.
And that ties into what you were saying earlier, I suppose, from the younger players coming through, the academies, the structures, and hopefully a better reserve level. Yeah,
it's everything. It's all that. That's really important. But it's also, getting 5-year-olds to play, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds to play, and get them ingrained in what we all think is the greatest game. It's a holistic approach. To get those kids to 16s and 18s, the more numbers that we have of kids playing. The better chance they have to develop into the those academies and squads above.
Hi, John.
Hi, mate.
Ed Chamberlain, obviously he's missed the last couple with his head. Is he all right now?
Yeah, he's passed, mate.
So he's good to play this week?
Yeah, he's available.
Good stuff. That's another option then for multiple positions as well he can cover.
Yeah, he covers lots of spots, Ed.
Brad Fash obviously went for scans on his hamstring. Is there any update on him, please?
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks they're saying. So I think he'll be at 2 weeks this weekend. So he had a grade 2 Hemi. So yeah, probably minimum 4. Hopefully only a maximum of 6.
Still 7 weeks to go in this, so he will feature again this year. Touch wood.
Yeah, he should be available to play.
Good stuff. And Liam Watts obviously came back from a long-term layoff. Is he still okay after all? The committee's come.
No, he got through the game fine, and he's trained well. Yeah.
Good stuff. The players that made long journeys, if you like, on holiday, are they all good, like Liam Knight, people like that?
Yeah, look, we've had some bad news with Liam. He's got a stress fracture in his ankle. He'll be going in for some surgery. So we'd be lucky to see him again this year.
How did that happen? Is it in training or?
Just a stress fracture.
Good stuff. Jake Arthur, club have been linked with this week. Brad Arthur's confirmed there is Super League interest. Is there anything you can tell us there?
No, just, again, mate, talking to a lot of players, he's one of them.
Good stuff. And Kobe Wainhouse has left the club. In that case, they just can't keep them all? Or?
No, you can't keep them all. He got a good offer to go to Hull KR. You can't begrudge kids. They're the leading club at the moment. He's had an offer, a decent offer to go, and he's grabbed it. And, the club wishes him well.
The Salford situation, there's been speculation, all sorts this week that they're losing players left, right, and centre. I mean, how is it? Just do you have to keep the focus on yourself in situations like this and not worry about what they're doing?
I think that's all we can do. It's hard not to, because it's I suppose it's front and centre for rugby league minded people. It's out there. The information's out there, and some of it's true, some of it might not be true. We're not sure. We just know. Whoever turns up for them, they go out and compete hard. They try hard. So it's we just got to prepare for whoever they bring to the game on Sunday. But making sure that we bring our best.
And how tough is it as a big rugby league fan that you are to see a situation like that unfold?
Yeah, it's just sad, I suppose, for everyone involved, for the game, for Salford supporters. A lot of people get lost. You don't think about a lot of people in the course of this, but I think the ones that suffered most at the moment are the fans. They've got a loyal crew of fans over there, and it would be tough for them. And obviously the players and the staff, you do feel for them. But come Sunday, we spoke as a group. We can't be worried about what unfortunately what's happened there. We've got to go out and get a result.
In terms of your own mentality, 1 week at a time, that's all you can do in it, I guess.
What's that, mate? Sorry?
In terms of your own mentality, it's 1 week at a time, I suppose. That's all you can
do. That's all we can do. We're desperate to, we spoke about after the Huddersfield game. Just again, some people get lost in your thoughts. Our fans turn up. We've got a great group of people who turn up week in, week out, who spend their hard earned on us. And there's no lack of trying here. I can promise you that. They go out every week to try, and they want to see the smiling faces on the people after games, and that goes without saying. But that's something that we spoke about, and they brought it up as well. Players brought it up as well. Just trying to send them home with a smile on their face.
Stuff. Cheers, John.
Hi, John. Just on Salford, have you been given assurances that this week will definitely go ahead?
No, I haven't yet. Either way, hasn't been. I haven't heard anything about it. I don't know that there's any meetings going on, or if there's any updates. I'm sort of trying to steer away from it until we know. We're preparing to play. So as far as we know, we've got a game on Sunday.
Okay. Just want to ask. I mean, not the only injured player that hasn't been asked about, Jordan Lane. I mean, is he going to play again this season?
Yeah, we've got some good news about Jordan. He's back doing probably all the running. He started a bit of contact now, so we're hopeful to have him back. Maybe as early as the next 2 weeks.
Okay, brilliant. Look, you mentioned about Jake Arthur. I mean, is that playmaker? Is that the last piece of the puzzle really for next season?
Yeah, well, he can play an organising half. He can be just play on his edge. We've done a fair bit of homework on him. He's made his way into first grade at Newcastle this week, so I don't know whether that will have any sort of factoring into his decision, how he plays this week. But I think he'd be a player that would do really well in Super League.
And do you anticipate any other business other than that halfback?
What's that, mate?
Do you anticipate any other business being done between now and next season?
Oh, we've got a bit of scope. Yeah, we do have a bit of scope. We're probably a little bit thin in the centres, in the centre area. Boys that have played there this year have done a great job, but we've had a lot of changing of the positions in there. There's, when you're looking to complete your side, you'd love it. Like I think Tessie New top players just played the lights out this year. I think everyone would love to have a player like him at the moment, but they're hard to find.
With your centres, just in terms of if Will Price is fit this week, does Zach Hardaker maybe go there? Does Will Price go to fullback, or are you tempted to keep Zach Hardaker at fullback where he's played so well? Yeah,
I think long term Will's going to be our fullback. I think that's his best position. So if we can get him through the week, for me, I'll talk to the staff about it. But for me, I think we find a way to put him at fullback. I think that's when we're at our best. And
I just want to ask about Liggy Sow as well. If you get Jake Arthur, I mean, does that mean Liggy Sow's finished here now?
That would, Jake would be our 10th import. So I haven't spoke. I spoke to Liggy and I said I'd let him know exactly where we stood. So until we know 100% about Jake and what we do there, we're always on the lookout for non-quota players as well. But there's just, like I said, we spoke earlier about, there's just a bit of a dearth of players to fill your spots. So sometimes you got to look overseas.
So Liggy, there's a chance Liggy could stay next year.
Yeah, there's still an opportunity there. Yeah, there could still be an opportunity.
Yeah, lovely. Cheers.
Hi John, just linking into the halfback situation, it seems as though Hull are a kiss of death on some of the people we're looking at because they immediately either sign for another club within the NRL or make a debut with one. And one of the people that's abruptly come available is Lewis Dodd. Looks as though the Rabbitohs have parted company with him. Is he somebody you'd be looking at in the future?
We haven't really crossed it because I think the money he's on a lot of clubs would struggle to fit him into their cap.
$650,000 I think is on over
so
there.
It would depend on what South Sydney were prepared to put towards that. So it's not something that's, because it's only really just happened. So it's not something that we've spoke about as a club yet, no.
Yeah. And going back into questions asked for Yusuf, what did you get up to during your time off? If you had any time off, I know you was busy during that time on a couple of occasions.
I had a couple of days in Spain. I'd never been there before, so my daughter and her son-in-law and the kids were over there. So Jed and I went over there and spent 3 days with them, which was fantastic.
And you mentioned also about getting 5 and 6, 7-year-olds involved in the game. I think it was your family who came and was practicing putting you through your paces a few weeks ago. Is that potential for one for the future?
Yeah, it could be. He's a little slugger, the little fella. But it's just, it's sort of second nature over there. If you're in rugby league families, it's part of your blood.
Well, it looks as though he could catch a ball and run with it, so that was good enough at the moment. So all the best for the future for him.
As long as they're doing something, physical.
And lastly for me, thing of frustration, I sit opposite the West Stand, so obviously in the East Stand, and I just wonder, when you go on your walkabouts, when you see that frustrating part, have you got some kind of punch bag in the stands that you can take it out of? Because you look quite frustrated when you're leaving it.
Yeah, no, it's just part of the job, part of the journey. Sometimes you wear your heart on your sleeve. Sometimes it comes out too often.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Cheers.
Okay. Hi, John. After Huddersfield, did it feel a bit like the wins against Wakefield and Wigan had just been sort of discarded a bit?
I haven't let that happen. It's just if you do that, you just tear your hair out. Week in, week out. It's. I think we've mentioned it a few times. It is a roller coaster. Your highs and your lows are going to happen. You don't know when or who the high is going to be against or the low is going to be against. So I suppose just drawing a bit of experience, being around a while, just to know that what we're capable of, and it's always just it's always in work. How do we be at our best every week? So that's my train of thought. And
obviously, it's going to be difficult to plan against Salford because you don't know which players you're actually going to be playing against.
No, it's not. It's certainly something that's 100% true. We don't know. So it is a good week just to talk about us and make sure we get attempt to go out there and get our football on.
Is it the right sort of game for players like Will Price and John Asiata to be coming back from longer-term injuries into? I'm always of the opinion that if they're fit to play, they play. I think that no matter what stage you are in your career, it's the only way you get your timing. It's the only way you get your true fitness. Physically, make your tackles. Get tackled. I think that's if you're fit, that's where you've got to be. And so, whereabouts are you at? Obviously, we know that the league is expanding to 14 teams. Where does the new overseas quota with 10 players? Where does that all fit together for you as a coach?
Just finding balance within your squad. And, look where you need to strengthen. And it's all got to be balanced out with a salary cap as well. It is a science, and it's something that you got to keep working on, because things change pretty quickly. You get
you think you've got a player sort of on board and it can fall over at the last minute, and in that meantime you miss out on someone else who was you were initially interested in. It can be quite frustrating at times, but it's also enjoyable. It is a big part of the game now. It's not just what happens on the field; it's the stuff that happens in the offices.
And how does it happen? Do you go to Richie Myler and say, "Oh, I've seen this. I've identified this player that I'm interested in," and he goes and talks to somebody, or is he coming to you and saying, "Oh, well, this player might be becoming available. Would you be interested?" Or is it a two-way thing?
Oh, mainly we just look at where we need to improve the squad, and then Dan Bundell's doing a lot of recruitment for us now. So, he's the initial point of contact. And so, Dan, we need some front rowers, or centres, or wingers, or whatever it may be, and he just sources out every player that's off contract in that position, and then it's just it's a process of going through of rating them, where you think they fit in your salary cap, dealing with managers, and go. As I say, it's an organised process. It's not just throwing a dart and saying we need a front row and sign the first one that comes available.
Okay, best of luck for Sunday, John. Thanks very much.
Thank you.